In this session, you will learn how to make your Amazon FBA product connect with your potential customers emotionally so that you make their buying decision easier. Our guest today will be Andrew Morgans from Marknology agency. They help Amazon sellers and e-commerce sellers to launch their products in different e-commerce platforms. And this session is part of the Seller Fest Online Virtual Summit, and it is sponsored by 3 companies. The first one is Carbon 6. It's a suite of tools that makes it simple to optimize and streamline any aspect of Amazon business. Check their link below in the description and see what services and tools they offer for Amazon sellers. Also, the next company which is supporting this session is QUARTILE. It's an AI-powered advertising optimization platform for sellers and brand owners to maximize their potential in e-commerce. And you will find the link below in the description, and also an offer from them. And last but not least, Getida is also part of this event. They are an Amazon FBA auditing company, and they specialize in maximizing FBA reimbursements for sellers of any size. And again, you will find the link below in the description. And during this session, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you don't enjoy, don't forget to like and subscribe, because we are on the way to get 12,000 subscribers on our channel. And this session will be hosting with Lisette. Hi, Lisette.
Hi, Augustus. Happy to be back here, and I'm excited about the next session. Are you, Augustus?
Yes, I'm excited. Don't block me.
Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, I'm very excited to bring Andrew here, who will be giving the next presentation. So hi, Andrew.
Hey guys, I'm happy to be here.
Hi.
So Andrew, before we go to your today's presentation, could you first introduce yourself and also give us a little bit about your background, what you do in Amazon space?
Yeah, thank you both. And thanks to the sponsors for putting this on. Carbon 6, a new partner of ours. We've been using Pixel Me, loving that tool so far, and digging into some of their their newer tools that have yet to be released. Getida, been a longtime partner. So thankful that they're sponsoring my show today, my speaking event. A little bit about myself. I have been helping Amazon brands in the services space on Amazon for over 11 years. So I've seen a little bit of the highs and lows of what it means to be an Amazon seller, an Amazon brand. One thing I would add to that intro was, we don't just work with launching products or launching sellers, but in a way we work with manufacturers, we work with brands that maybe have been on Amazon, have hit plateaus, or maybe the FBA sellers that are really trying to say, hey, I've got a lot of good products going well. I want to kind of package them together into a brand and help me do that. So, we've built a team here in Kansas City, but, we're across the globe in some ways. And it's full service. So everything from SEO to, tracking keywords, to PPC, to brand protection, international expansion, you name it, and as Amazon gets harder, as we all know, you just have to get better at what you're doing. And so, we love trying to innovate and, push the limits. So long story short, have worked with over 300 brands, sellers, and have seen a little bit of everything. And I'm hoping today to just share some of what I've learned from wins and failures, and how connecting emotionally through your images, your content, even though we're on Amazon, a white platform in a lot of ways, can really lead to more sales and ultimately, having everybody win. Okay, awesome. Well, let's get to it. I picked this topic just because for me, in the space, what I saw with a lot of Amazon sellers that were already very successful. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of sellers very successful that still aren't doing some of these things. But I saw a gap and a need for branding. And just with my personal experience, even before the Amazon world, I traveled playing music. I worked in corporate as an e-commerce manager, things like that. I saw that when I was working with good content, I was working with brands that had a great story to tell. There was so much more that you could accomplish. And for me, it's been a journey. I didn't go to school for branding. I went to school for computer science. So PPC and the backend catalog and things like that made a lot more sense to me early on. But I started realizing that if you could get the branding right, if you could get the story right, if you could connect, you get the right photo in place, wow, the results would be amazing. So I started digging into this topic over the last 4 or 5 years. And I think it's one that can help even the most experienced sellers just, remember and kind of get a different perspective on how they're selling. So let's get into it. What I hope you'll learn today is defining what brand means. So many people say brand, so many people say branding. What does that mean? Let's talk about what we mean today when we're talking about it. I want you to learn about expectation management, what you should be expecting if you're engaging with an agency, or if you're doing this yourself, or you're taking on the goal of setting good branding for your company and your products. What should you expect along the way? How branding connects to emotions, scientifically, logically, like how does this work? And then a winning formulas framework. How can you put this into play and into practice? So a key takeaway for today is to gain an additional perspective on building a brand that connects to customers on Amazon. I've been in this space 11 years. I have talked to thousands and thousands and thousands of brand owners that don't believe in Amazon, that believe that selling on Amazon means they can't create the same feeling that they have on their website or their social media. And I'm here today to prove them wrong, and to show like there's a lot of ways, if you're clever, if you're innovative, if you embrace all that Amazon is offering, you can be very successful at this. So I want that to be a key takeaway. Why is branding the key to your business success? And I'm just going to read it right from the prompt, because I think it says it so well. Branding connects people's emotions to your product, driving experiences into sales. And you connect emotions and you get sales at the end of the day. And what happens is, scientifically, there's 3 parts of the brain. First you have the emotional brain. It moves faster than the logical brain. So first you feel something, like think about it like a snake is coming out of the brush, or danger, a ball is coming out of your peripheral vision if you're at the ball game, and you block it without even knowing. Before your brain even processed what was happening, your emotional primal self like reacts to the danger and takes care of it. And then later you're catching your breath. You're like, wow, what happened? And your logic starts playing it back. That's the same kind of thing that I hope that analogy works, but that's the same kind of thing that I'm trying to talk about here, is how do we connect emotionally with the customer? So that's the secondary effect. A logic brain comes into play and says, okay, I'm going to justify why I felt that way and why I want to buy this product. So I'm going to encourage you as we go through this presentation, as you're here, everyone's here to gain some perspective. Everyone's here to gain, a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of learning. And so I encourage you, I urge you to remember that what got us here won't get us there. So while PPC might have gotten you here, while just having an amazing product selection or amazing pricing or whatever the case has gotten you to this level of success, if you're already a seller, if you've been doing brick and mortar forever and you're trying to get into e-commerce, you have to leave some of that thinking behind. What got us here? Yeah, I'm even doing that in my own business today, as my agency is scaling, as I'm growing my brands. I'm having to, develop a new Andrew in the new way that I'm scaling, I'm communicating, I'm working, because some of the things we did to get us here and get us organized and get us to this point is not what we need to get us to the next step. So some of those key takeaways. The first one was defining brand. Today, we're talking about the context of Amazon, but really these principles can be applied throughout many mediums, from brick and mortar through direct to consumer, your personal brand, your LinkedIn, your social media. Today, I'm using examples of Amazon, but they can be applied anywhere. So what is branding? Branding is everywhere. Like I mentioned, it can be personal brand. It can be companies themselves. It can be places and locations. The way you feel about a certain place. They've all got red tile roofs, or they've all got white. They all have to have white paint on the side. There's plenty of places like here in the U.S., like Vail in Colorado, where all the buildings have to be the same. The place itself is branded. Online, in-person events. You know, there's a branding, there's a feel to them. Orange Klik has a look, a feel. The orange, I love it because it's close to Marknology. But this is an online event, and it's branded, and it has a feeling, right? So this is what we're talking about. So what can branding do? Well, let branding do the heavy lifting for you. What does that mean? You know, as someone that didn't have a lot of budget, I'm a bootstrapped entrepreneur. I worked with a lot of small sellers that didn't have a lot of ad budget. They didn't have, you know, all of the bankroll or let's say the power of an aggregator behind them. We had to get very creative. And what I realized was, if you do a great job storytelling, if you do a great job, you know, educating, if you do a great job connecting emotionally, you can sell a higher price product. You can sell a product without as much convincing with ads. Instead of needing 20 clicks to get a sale, maybe we can do it in 12 and save those dollars. So there's a lot of ways where if you get the branding right, it can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. In sales, if I have a lot of content on YouTube, I have testimonials, I have a great reputation online, I'm seen at events. If someone comes to talk to me, let's say about working together, my branding that I've been building for years does a lot of the heavy lifting for me. They're there because they've heard of me, they've heard of my brand. I'm not having to convince them about trust. I'm not having to convince them that I'm a good product or I can help deliver a good product. My branding is doing that for me. So branding shapes your business messages and triggers the customer's emotions. How do they feel about Marknology? Do they know that we're a family-based business? Do they know that we're high-touch boutique? How do they feel about that? If a family-owned business is like triggering to them because they have a horrible business or they worked with their parents and it went bad, it's going to trigger a negative emotion. If it's something that they value, it's going to trigger a positive emotion. When you emotionally connect with customers, they'll remember you. So people always remember how you make them feel, right? And if you make someone feel good whenever they've come into contact with your brand, or you've made them laugh, or maybe you've even offended them, they will remember you. And the goal is to be memorable. You know, I have this red beard. It covers up half of my face. You're welcome. But this is a thing that, like, you know, there's a lot of people that will say, I'm just it was easy to spot you. I saw you with the red beard. It's a part of my brand. It's part of my face, but it's a noticeable thing and people remember it, right? So the other thing is, like, you know, I have a story to tell that I might save for a little bit longer in the presentation, but there was a time where everyone that saw me in Kansas City, they would say, I remember you, you're the t-shirt guy. And I didn't want to be known as the t-shirt guy. I want to be known as the Amazon guy. And the reasoning behind that was, if they remember me as the t-shirt guy, they're going to hit me up for small things, right? But I'm in Kansas City. I wanted to be known. I was passionate about Amazon. I wanted to be known as the Amazon guy. No offense to Stephen Pope, my Amazon guy, but that is the truth. I wanted to be known. If someone was sharing, hey, I have a brand on Amazon. Hey, I'm starting to sell on Amazon. Or like, we have questions about it. Oh, I know a guy, a local guy. He knows Amazon really well. And I wanted my name to come to their mind, right? I wanted them to remember me. So these were things that, like, if you're doing your branding, if you're doing consistent, you'll get known for it. You know, we think about tissue paper for blowing our nose. We think of Kleenex. We think of that brand. They're so well known branded wise that whenever we even say tissue, we think of Kleenex, at least here in the US. And if customers come to you, you've built a long-term emotional connection between your customer and your product. So if they're coming to you, you are known for delivering a good product, and that is the whole goal of branding. The next one would be expectation management. I put this here because I think people have such a wrong perception or such a wrong idea of what it takes to build a brand. You know, and I think some of that is because of how easy it was to be successful on Amazon in the early days. You would simply put up product, you would bring product over from Alibaba or your manufacturers, you'd put it up and you were selling. Well, that is you're selling. That is an opportunity. That was a black hole of selling on Amazon for a short amount of time. But since the beginning of time, branding has existed. And the expectation needs to be that I am in this. If I'm building a brand, I am in this for the long run. I am not taking shortcuts that diminish my brand or lower it. I am in it for the long run. I am running at a steady pace because I know that I have a long run to run. A marathon is not a short race. You get what you pay for. You know, I have a joke that's like, you know, don't let your cousins, sisters, friends, sisters, brother shoot your products, right? Like, you get what you pay for. And obviously this is a general statement in that you can pay top dollar and not always get top deliverable, but when it comes to branding, when it comes to emotions and how people perceive you, it's very important. And then again, I say, you don't know what you don't know. Expect not to know everything about branding. Expect to get it wrong. Expect the need to change. Expect the need to pivot. That's why it's a marathon. You're running, you take a small misdirection, you get back on course. You didn't know that before you got there, right? Or you had to learn it along the way. It's part of building a brand. And it is how you handle those things that comes back. So you're like, how does this, Andrew? Okay, so how does this relate to Amazon? Okay, we're going to get into it. So each of these next few slides are examples of brands that we've built on Amazon. We've taken the branding, the storytelling, and crafted all of this. One, I do that so that I don't have to cite any sources, or I'm not offending anyone by using their products. And the other one is because it's it's good examples of our work and what I'm talking about. So this is a brand that I actually own a small percentage of. I've been working on it for 6 years. We've gone through a name change. We've been through all types of things. We sell internationally. And this is a product where at first we were using stock images for dogs and supplements. And this was even the way 6 years ago. You didn't have to be at this level. But with Waggity, we're selling a story, not a product, right? So these are products that help animals, help dogs specifically with hip and joint problems, with anxiety problems, with just overall adult vitamins or senior vitamins. The owner Ben is a dear friend. He was going through a sickness at the time. He had to quit his job, and when he got back to his health, he decided that he was going to do something at a slower speed, and he wanted to build a company, build a brand for the animals that had been there to support him with his sickness. Okay, so I'm trying to speak vaguely so I don't overshare any information. But essentially, Ben has an amazing story, and he really cares about dogs, and he created a product that helps dogs just like they helped him. And so, we've changed the name. We started using real dogs from either like my team's animals or Ben's animals or even animals in our community. So it helped me get plugged into the community. And we're selling the story of the relationship that you get whenever you have a healthy dog. So if your dog is calm, if your dog has better hips and joints, he can run and play longer. So we're selling the story of Ben, why he created this product and what it can do for dog and dog owner. We're not really selling the facts behind the products, even though I know that the products are amazing, right? Our retention rate's insane, but we are selling the story of the products. And I hope that resonates with you guys. The next one would be make your customer the hero. Remember, these are all about ways that you can connect emotionally with your graphics. So that one was selling the story, not the product. This one is make your customer the hero. Unwasted, an awesome brand that we've been working with. She was first in space. Okay, so she was the first. What these are reusable lids that stretch over any container. Okay, and there's different sizes. And she was the very first to Amazon with this product. Now there's a whole bunch of people that have copied her, and you don't know how many times I've heard that story, right? Oh my God, I was crushing, and now there's all these sellers, and what do I do? Well, what you do is you keep innovating, right? You keep connecting, you keep figuring out a way to stand. Okay, when everyone's copied you, what do you do next? And these are the photos we came up with afterwards, where because this is an environmentally friendly, it's eco-conscious, she wanted to do something for the environment. Because it's that kind of product, we really brought that to heart, and we took that to heart, and we said, okay, we're going to make the hero, make the customer the hero, because by buying this product, they're giving back to the environment. They're saving on waste. They are being able to reuse things and restore and not be wasteful. And so this is a way that we're connecting emotionally with the customer through the content. The next one, another way to connect emotionally, is people will buy if they know your why. Okay, people will buy if they know your why. I think these are absolutely beautiful graphics. I mean, when we got this brand, we're talking about cosmetics with just like a white label on them. I know you guys have seen them on Amazon, but this was we needed to communicate. How do we stand out in a world where cosmetics and beauty are a dime a dozen? And we went to the drawing board with the team. And we just really started thinking critically about how do we connect emotionally with this one. And it was all about telling the why of why you need this product, why we built this product, representing the brand, and connecting with them about the why behind why we created the product. This one's one of my favorites. People buy experiences, not products. And I think this is more relevant today than ever before. And I'm hoping that these examples of how the content emotionally is connecting first. We're not selling that this comes with 24 flies in a plastic box, separated by dividers, fishes for this fish, this fish, this fish. No, we are selling the experience of going fly fishing and what that means and what you're going to get with the product. You're taking an adventure, right? This is a unique connection. These are like honestly amazing products, but we're not talking about just the quality of the products. We're talking about the experience you get with dad, the experience you get with grandpa or your wife or whoever you go fishing with. Maybe it's just you and alone time, getting meditation time. We're talking about that experience that is fishing, and why it's America's and greatest pastime. I think that's baseball actually, but for me it's fishing. And we really brought this brand to life. I absolutely love everything about this. And you're selling, okay, if you're selling a portable tennis, a tennis court. What are you selling? You're not selling the tennis court that you can pack up and that goes nicely into a backpack. You're selling the experience of being able to go outside and practice anywhere. If you're selling frisbees, you're not selling the frisbee about how fast it glides or how smooth it glides. You're selling the fact that it gets you outside, has you playing with a friend, gets you in the beautiful park. Share and sell the experience. That's what people are buying. They want to envision themselves. They want to, oh, I remember like fishing with grandpa. I want to do that again. I'm going to buy this product. The logic comes after and says, well, I deserve this, or grandpa will love this, or I need this in order to be an amazing fisherman, or when I go on my adventure, I want to look this cool. Whatever it is, you're selling the experience, not the product. Here's another example, one we've been working on, sell a lifestyle, conquer a sell. Okay, so this is about alkaline water and the power of it, and how it can invigorate you. It makes so a lot of people that are into a very healthy lifestyle are the same customers that care about alkaline water, right? And so we're not just selling the product, the pitcher, that it cleans your water, how fast it does it, that it can be used anywhere. We're selling the fact that you are going to live a better life. You are going to be cooler. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be more energetic. You're going to be healthier. You're going to live longer. And it's easy to use. And sure, we have all those things too. But what we're selling is the lifestyle of someone that participates with drinking alkaline water and purifying their water in that way. Another one, the influencer effect. Okay, so this one's a little bit different, a little bit more indirect, in my opinion. And I love influencers. I love TikTok. I love all of this. Bruush, Bruush. It's a Canadian company. I've been with them since they launched the product. So 5-6 years, I think. We're in Canada, we're in the US. It honestly, all of my friends have them. I love these toothbrushes. Let me just say that the product is absolutely amazing. So once it gets in someone's hands, it is amazing. We were selling well in Canada. The US, we struggled. Why? Because we have Philips Sonicare. We have some massive competitors in the space. And the brand is very innovative. They brought in Kevin Hart, as you see here, and boom, sales just started absolutely crushing it. And Bruush was all of a sudden, when we showed our product with Kevin Hart, who America loves, all of a sudden we're selling a lot of product. When we were just selling our product next to Philips Sonicare, where the brand Philips Sonicare is much more known than Bruush with 2 U's and 2 colons over the U, we weren't getting anywhere. So what you get with influencers, whether it's micro or big ones as big as Kevin Hart, is the emotions that you feel about that influencer. Whenever you see them, you're essentially getting all of those emotions at one time. It doesn't have to be sold through the images. It's sold through a smile and him holding the toothbrush. If Kevin Hart's using this toothbrush, if Kevin Hart is endorsing this, I've seen all of his stand-ups on Netflix. I've gone to our local convention center, paid, $50, $100 to see him perform comedy. It's no big deal for me to spend $80 on a toothbrush. I've spent that. I've supported this person already. And so that's called the influencer effect. You've been following them, you trust them, you believe in them, you see them touching the product, you emotionally feel trust, and the purchase follows that. Why these things work. Okay, so this is some storytelling time. I think I'm doing okay on time, but I'm cruising here because I want to get through this content so we can get to the questions if there are any. So conversion rate. So this was a brand where maybe it was 2017, 18. They were out of New York, and they had a story. Okay, so they just had one product. It's these 4 antimicrobial sponges. They were selling at a higher price than the competition. But we just started executing. So we set up the product listing. We got items into FBA. We had a product explainer video on the listing, and this was newer when videos, not everyone had videos at the time. So we had a video, and we had an A+ page. And what I would say is that the images did a good job of describing the scientific benefits of this product. Is like a product that you get on Subscribe and Save, or that you get on a subscription because they need to replace your sponges because sponges get very dirty. Okay, so just some understanding behind the product. But we were very clear about what the products do. Our keywords were very intentional. The video explained why this more expensive sponge was worth it. And then the A+ page did a good job of explaining the owners. It was 3 moms, and they decided to design this product because they realized that, the same thing they're using to clean products was the same thing that was actually keeping germs. And so they wanted their kids to have a healthier lifestyle. And they did a great job in the A+. It wasn't the most amazing job we've ever done, but what I saw was with very limited advertising, we had a 45% conversion rate. And give or take up and down, we basically maintained that for almost 2 years running. We're higher priced, and our conversion rate was nearly 45%. Now, I could probably stop the presentation there because that's like TED Talk worthy. I think if someone got a 45% conversion rate 2 years running on a product, that's a really big deal. But what it did was it made me pay attention, and I started focusing. I said, wow, what did we get right, guys? To my team, I'm like, what did we get right on this listing that I want to duplicate across every company or brand that we ever touch? And I just believe there's the perfect mix of product description, educational about the product, but also that story and that emotional connection between moms and their children and wanting to have a clean and healthy home. Okay, the last thing I talked about, a takeaway, was a winning formula. And this is short and sweet. This is what it takes to be successful building a brand. It takes strategy. Okay, it takes patience, and it takes intentionality. You can have strategy. You can have one of these without the other. And I don't believe that it's the formula you need to build a successful brand. You need to have strategy, meaning knowing where we're going. You need to be patient because it takes time. Rushing it. That's why investor-based brands are hard for me, because they're push, and building a brand really takes time. And then intentionality. Every area of Amazon, from supply chain to your fulfillment to your inserts to your SEO to your keyword strategy, your advertising strategy. How do your advertising and your keywords mix? Are they driving organic sales? Are your images connecting? Things like PickFu have come out. Companies like PickFu, where you get to run your images against polls and get real life feedback around which images work best. Intentionality around that. Intentionality around creating a product that you would love to have. That you would use in your home, intentionality around everything you do. So strategy plus patience plus intentionality, a winning formula. And honestly, guys, that's the end of my presentation. I sped through that. I know I did, but I hope that you guys got some takeaways from that around just different ways of thinking about your content, your images on your page, your A+ page. How am I going about telling my product story? How am I going about educating my customers? The US market is a very emotional market. We like to be sold to. We like fluffy language. We like all the descriptions, the adjectives. If we're selling in Germany, it's going to be direct. It's going to be very fact. You have to know where you're selling. I know US is the biggest market, so that's what I've been talking to. But I think that's one of the big drop-offs from international sellers, or even Chinese sellers, wherever you might be, is just understanding that the US market, as a general, is a very emotionally charged market, and we like to be sold to. We like to feel things, and that can result in a lot of money. So I'm going to pass back to Lizette and Augusta to take over.
Thank you.
Actually, yeah, Andrew, we saw a sneak peek of your contact slide as well. So yeah, you can share the slide so everybody who wants to get in contact with you to learn more or just follow what you do, then yeah, here are all the links and information about that.
Awesome.
What's the story of Marknology name? I thought it's related to your name, but it's not.
Yeah, so if someone calls me Mark after we've known each other a minute, I make them wait 2 weeks if we're trying to talk, right? Because I'm just like, guys, come on, I would not name the company after myself. The truth is, I'll give you guys the real behind the scenes story. I was an e-commerce manager maybe 10 years ago or so, and I was hired by the IT department, okay, so the technology department, like the programmers and coders and stuff. But I was working with the marketing and branding team all day, every day. So I was IT, but I was working with marketing. And I was in charge of scheduling, like we would take lunches together as a team building and things like that, once a week or whatever. And I started calling them the marketing and technology lunch, Marknology lunch, right? And as I started, I also started thinking, well, e-commerce, I kind of sit in the middle between these two teams. And I believe that that's true. I believe that e-commerce is a mixture of marketing and technology. You need both to be successful. You can't just use marketing if you don't know how to deploy it today in 2022. Using technology, you won't be successful. So that's kind of it. As well as, I looked at some of the greats that have built amazing brands, and a lot of them invented words. Nike, Adidas, things like that, Uber. Words that don't even really make sense. You kind of look them up, or you know what it is and you just remember. So it was a lot cheaper, and I was bootstrapped. So if you're making up your own word, your domain name is pretty cheap, and that's where I was at.
Yeah,
Oh, very good.
Similar with the Orange Klik, I had to come up with something
There we
unique.
go.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
before we introduce one more thing, I wanted to say big thanks for the detailed presentation, and also viewers, if you enjoyed what Andrew just explained to you and taught you about, then definitely like this video as well. Andrew will later come back to the video and count all of the likes, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
I gave that up a long time ago, guys. Once I started talking about some of the real stuff behind Amazon, the likes really went down, so I stopped counting those a long time ago.
So let's now show support for you.
Awesome.
And yeah, this session is part of the virtual summit Seller Fest Online, and we have about 25 or more experts participating. And just like I wanted to say, Mark, just like Andrew, they are presenting different strategies and insights from their experience. And we also ask them to provide additional value, additional what we call VIP content, and we pack this all into VIP package, which you can find if you check the link below in the description. Also, you can see the link on the screen. And in this package, all these speakers are adding additional video, or I think in Andrew's case, it will be additional PDF with a detailed, we will get to it very soon. But yeah, some speakers, for example, Vanessa is sharing some workshop style 40 minutes video about flat files. You can get additional strategies for visual presentations, representations of your product in your Amazon listing, and all the speakers are going in depth about different things. And this content is not available public. You cannot find it on YouTube, so it's accessible only if you upgrade with the link provided in the description. And let's find Andrew's session. Andrew, can you tell us shortly what are you sharing in your VP content?
Yeah, I would love to. And like you said, this content isn't found anywhere. This is actually a PDF. It's a breakdown that we've created to create email lists, right? So we actually put a lot of time and energy into creating this this guide, so that would provide a lot of value, and hopefully people would see a lot of value in it. I also picked a topic that not everyone has touched. I don't think there's a lot of teams, that also do social media and these kinds of things, and so not the Amazon focused agencies anyway. And this is a big thing. We have been getting amazing results with Amazon posts, and I wanted to share that with people, and ways that they can do that and implement it in their business. As PPC gets hard, there's all these things I read about CPC costs going up, and supply chain is going up, and inflation is going up. Well, why not focus on something that Amazon is giving to us that we can get free traffic, right? So, we're getting thousands of impressions a day on our Amazon posts for some of the brands we're running. It's additional content. It's a way to stand out against other sellers. It's a way to localize and continue to give facts and facts and facts about your information over time. It's absolutely awesome. What we've done is we've broken it down. What are posts? Where do you find them? How do you use them? How to create a strategy using posts? How to implement them in your business? Things to think about. We've got it all there, and we've packaged it for you guys. So I think it's a ton of value. I think I'm going to sign up myself just to get the other 24. To see what I can learn. It's probably saved me a little bit of time from having to watch all of the videos myself. But I know there's a lot of great information in here, and I'm sure for me, the post one alone is worth the $97. So if you care about selling, if you care about brand building, if you care about being the best in space at what you do, this kind of stuff is invaluable.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is like what you shared is a more than 20 pages PDF. It's great. And now I think we have a few questions, right, Lisette?
Yeah, we do have. So first I wanted to say we received a comment that Andrew is the greatest of at all times, right? Take notes. So I hope everybody took notes during your presentation, and will take more notes now during this Q&A. So Jeff wants to ask from you, is there a reason why you don't include more crawlable text in your A+ content?
Yeah, so this is actually a topic of debate, I think, between a lot of sellers, how to do it, how not to do it. You still get a lot of ability to have alt text, and you can have description and text behind those images, Jeff. So to my knowledge, those still can be crawled. The difference is visually, right? So A+ pages, if you're looking on a smartphone, which is 60% of sales, the A+ page is very, very important to conversion, and it's one of the first things that sellers see on a smartphone when they're buying. And so we just found that no one is reading that text. So there's a benefit that you get from potentially SEO or having more keywords in your listing. But for the most part, it's probably 5 to 10 great keywords that drive most of your traffic. And you can get a lot of that, covered in that amount of space. The other thing is, how short and concise can you get in saying the same message? Is a very hard thing to do. As you can tell, I'm spitting out tons of words fast to try to get it out. But if you can say it in one sentence, even better. And I think that, visually, a way to stand out is to have less white space, less text, and more visual engaging content, maybe with one sentence across the image or the text, the call to action that you want to be very clear. I don't want my customers to have to read a book or a paragraph. I want them to read one specific sentence and get exactly what I want them to take away from that. And, I'm sure there's opinion there, opinion of one.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts on it. So next one, can you share some tips how to effectively plan and make all needed creatives, images, A+, storefront, etc.? I think now there's more than ever, like different fields or different places where to use creative. So I think, yeah, that would be useful to know.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Thank you for asking, whoever that was. For us, we've kind of come up with our own unique way of doing that. We create something we call the brand guide this is like, you know, most people have a brand guide for a brand. It might be 50 pages or 100 pages. You've overpaid for it. It's too big that no one's actually using it as a guide or a map or a legend. It looks good and they send it out whenever they engage with a new partner. We actually are creating a guide we started doing it internally and now we do it for customers. But it's like, you know, 4 or 5 pages of the icons we want to use, the colors we want to use, the fonts we want to use. We do a few example like graphics in there of what we think is a look feel. And that is something that the team can share and go off of to guide the rest of the content. And it's something that as we go across, let's say we've got 4 or 5 colors that are in our brand, as we go across different products, we can switch up colors, we can try different fonts and still be within the same look feel. So that's kind of how we stay organized and on track. As far as like planning all of the needed creatives, you know, we know that we used to do a lot of photography, almost all photography, lifestyle photography. I saw everyone doing stock images. I saw everyone doing Photoshop, and I was like, this is not the way. And so we had really good photographers before we had great graphic designers, and we spent a lot of time just trying to get the photos out in the real world and saw good results with that. But we can go a lot faster with just great graphic design. So that's something we do, unless specifically we need models and things like that. The costs just go way up with models. But you know, we essentially strategize out almost every time. It starts with PDP images, the main images on the products. We plan those first with the design guide, and then we think about the A+. And sometimes that's dividing educational content versus the story. Sometimes that's blending the both. And we just like we essentially have a queue. So I know that's a long answer, but it starts with the brand guide, and then we methodically go through, you know, the listing, trying to follow that.
Okay, good. And Jeff, yeah, asked, do you use an internal creative or branding team? So I think you partly answered to that, but
Yes, actually, I had to build it, and it took me years to get here. I've tried teams all over the world, trying to build the team as well. And the best thing that works for us is we have American localized, like the account team on the creative side. So they're the ones talking to the clients. They're the ones strategizing. They're the ones kind of creating the vision board. And then we have outsourced designers that are full-time employees of our team, just international team that do that kind of. They connect with our account team and design together. So it becomes each one almost has 1 or 2 designers under them. And so they're little mini teams. We've tried a whole bunch of things to get to that point. The problem was this: whenever I'm always looking for the best. So I would have some amazing freelancers. Well, freelancers like to be freelance, and sometimes, you know, you can't get them on projects, or they're working on something bigger. And it was always getting them to design for us on Amazon and them following our lead, but they weren't working on Amazon day in and day out and getting better at it and understanding all of the different nuances that A+ or that PDP or that videos have on Amazon. Instead, they were just great designers that we would use for Amazon. And that just wasn't really what I saw as the end goal. I wanted an in-house team. I just couldn't find them. I really, really couldn't find what I wanted until I started building my own team. So it's taken us years to get here. But, you know, as someone that started with PPC, as someone that started with SEO and these things, this was how we got started. Building like this, and then we would put it on the brand to go hire these things and the brand to get these things done, or pick a brand that already had them and use what they had. I couldn't. The only regret I ever have is not focusing on this sooner, because, you know, your advertising costs go down, your conversion rate goes up. All of these things improve, and they start with the images. Your advertising is dependent on the images. Everything's dependent on the images and the creative.
Okay, thank you very, very much for this very good answer. So Claudia has a little bit longer question. So how do you suggest a very small company with almost zero capital that is just starting and about to launch their first product can figure out how to build a brand and market it? We're close to launching, and then their second part, we're close to launching our first product, but have no money to hire someone to help us build a brand. What should we do?
Okay, so this is what I would do, because I was in the same shoes. I am a bootstrapped entrepreneur. I started in debt. You know, so I know what that feels like. I do know what that feels like. We have no capital, no funding. You just have to be very creative. And I think something that I've had as an advantage to a lot of other people is that I was raised in Africa. I was raised in Africa till I was 16. you know, you lose a toy or the car breaks or the computer spills something on the keyboard, or you learn to just fix things and you learn to be adaptable and pivot and make things work, because there is no Walmart to go down the store to replace things. So in some ways, just opening your mind to think outside the box is the way to do it. You know, for me, I got marketing help early on because I happened to have an office. And I had a great rate at an office in downtown Kansas City with 4 rooms. I only needed 1 room. I could have each had an office, me and I think there was 3 of us at the time. We could have each had our own office. Instead, we moved into the same office, and I traded one of my rooms to a photographer team that was trying to get started. I traded another one of my rooms to a nonprofit that helped me with admin and personal assistant stuff. And I handled another room to somebody else. And so I was trading them about 10 hours of work a month in exchange for free rent in my office. That was a creative way that I was getting some help on some simple things. And that's not enough to build an agency on or anything like that, but it's enough to get some help early on. Another thing I would do is, you know, just like if you're building a LinkedIn or an eBay listing, you go out there and you find, you know, 3 or 4 listings that you love, that you just think look beautiful. And they don't have to be Amazon. They could be anything, but an example of what you want. Whether you can do the photography or Photoshop or graphic design yourself, you go find what you want. And if you do have to go to Fiverr, if you do have to go to Upwork, if you do have to, not that there's anything wrong with those, but if you have to go there to find maybe cheaper talent than what you were hoping for, give them the exact example almost of what you want. Copy someone that's doing an amazing job and remix it a little bit. Start with something that you think is great. Say, I'm trying to do exactly this, and start there. And I think that's a great way to just get started. It should be enough to get you going. Your quality is going to be good just because you're using something great as an example. And then that's on the branding part and getting the creative done. To market it, you know, get creative. I used to get on Instagram and I would send 10 DMs a day to different companies in Kansas City because I had a Kansas City apparel company. And I would say, hey, influencers, I would just say, hey, I'll send you a free shirt. I would love you to post about it. I'll send you a free shirt. I'd love you to post about it. Can we co-market? I had a goal to do 10 a day. I did it every day for months and months and months. You can do the math. It really starts to add up. I just found ways of, I was giving away free product in exchange for getting, you know, getting marketing from them, or write the article for them, or, you know, it's when you have more time than you have capital, you have to find ways to use that time wisely and just get really creative.
All right, we have another interesting question. So do you think like Amazon customers really care about the brand story and the why behind it, or do they mostly just make their purchase based on product price and reviews?
Well, I think the answer's in the pudding. You know, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars and years and years and years because I believe that they care about the brand story and the why behind it. I've built a team, I've trained team, I've invested in team. You go to my website, you're going to see videos that I've spent thousands of dollars on trying to make that happen, because I do think that people care about your story. Now, don't get me wrong. We're speaking in generalities about millions of people from all different countries all over the world. And there are going to be, depending on what product you're selling, right? If you're selling a number 2 pencil, they care about price and reviews, I'm sure. I think it's a combination of both, right? You can have an amazing story and a why, and someone's not going to pay 10x what they would pay. But if it's within reason, if it's a few dollars more, if it's a little bit higher, yes, I very much so believe that they do. And I know that they do because I've proven it with data over and over and over. You know, I've had conversations with brands that are selling $120 men's suspenders when there's only $20 suspenders on Amazon. And he's saying, no one's going to buy this. They want the $20 men's suspenders. Well, I beg to differ. Let's prove it, you know, and we went to market and we did over 150,000 our first year with very little marketing and selling $120 men's suspenders when the next competition was 20. So, it depends on the product that you're selling. You know, if you're selling an eco-friendly product, if you're selling stuff that's made handmade, if you're selling stuff that's made with absolute quality, there's going to be a customer that cares about quality, and there's going to be a customer that cares about supporting businesses like Black Lives Matter or women-owned businesses or eco-friendly businesses. That's why Amazon has these badges kind of saying those things, because there are people that care. So I think one thing that's super important is why I started the presentation with, like, you don't know what you don't know and what got you here. And very long ago, I stopped trying to say, I know this. And instead, I started saying, let the data tell us. You know, and imagine if you could get $5 more off your product because you focused on these things, and you focused on it one time, you got it right, and then for the lifetime of your product, you get to sell it $5 more. That's an insane business move, right? So these are things that you just have to test, and, you know, try to work with people that you trust that will give you real answers instead of just trying to sell you. I know there's people that sell graphics and the storytelling aspect, and they say all the right things, and you just end up right back where you were. It's because you didn't get it right. You didn't get the messaging right. You know, you're an amazing person. You struck out trying to hit on that girl at the bar. Your pitch was not right. You know, something was not right. Your approach, you know, so think about it in the same thing when you're selling to someone. Maybe something's coming across the wrong way, or you're reaching the wrong customers with the wrong keywords. I'll share a quick story. So real quick, you know, we're working with a brand that sells at-home bar products. Okay, so like bartending products, shakers, spoons, mixers, things like that. We're selling a bar kit. Okay, so a bar kit is like a 14-piece set. These are all premium products. They're not cheap. They are like nice. And I was running PPC, hundreds of dollars in spend. The graphics look amazing. The video looks amazing. And for bar accessories and bar kit, we were not getting hardly any conversions. Okay, so but for bar spoon or these one-off almost searches of an item that would be within the set, we were getting sales on the set. And this was super confusing to me. And what I learned was that the professional bartender doesn't buy a set. He buys the individual item that he knows he's looking for, probably because he already has these items at home and he's replacing it or adding to his set or buying in that manner. On Amazon, the set buyer is actually someone that's new to it. They want to learn how to bartend at home. It's a gift for someone during the pandemic, any number of reasons. And so we had to just change the way it was our messaging, the way we were connecting to them. We needed to now speak to the professionals to let them know, hey, I know you normally buy this way, but this kit is for you. These items are premium. And so that was a way that, like, you know, if you had automated advertising, you would have negated the main keywords for your product because they wouldn't have converted. You wouldn't have gotten the fix. You had to really think about my message. My message was wrong. It wasn't the PPC that was wrong. The message was wrong. I need to go back to it and share with them why this product was of value and why they needed it.
Good story. Very good. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I think we have just thank you message from Claudia. You are answering her question.
Thank you, Claudia.
Yeah. And if Claudia, you enjoyed the session, and everybody who is still watching, don't forget to click subscribe and like below. And yeah, one more time, Andrew, how do you help Amazon sellers? We will show your contact data on the screen. So tell us.
I would love anyone would love for you to follow. We're on YouTube. I don't post as much there. I have a podcast that's not listed here, Startup Hustle. We're top 20 all time for entrepreneurship. We have some amazing guests. A lot of the speakers, even from this conference, have been on the podcast. Please come and listen. It's very passive. I'm not selling anything. I'm just talking strategy and branding and entrepreneurship. I love anyone that joins there. But Marknology.com, if you're a brand or a seller, you know, looking for some help, looking to take it to the next level, looking to partner with a team that can kind of help bring your story to life. A lot of people have a great story. They're just not comfortable talking about themselves. And so, you know, we try to help bring that to light. I'm someone that struggled with that, and I needed people to help me. I was helping other people. I struggled doing the same thing myself. Instagram, that's my company one, and my personal, anyone that's just entrepreneur, hustle focused, e-commerce focused, please add me on Instagram at Andrew Morgans. That's where I just chat with my friends. That's where I chat with my fellow sellers. You know, I'm not selling courses. I'm not selling anything like that. This is just, I create this content for you guys. Honestly, I create this content for the community and to just share my journey. And then Andrew at Marknology.com, personal email. I love to talk to anyone, honestly.
Perfect. Great advices, Andrew, says Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Andrew. Bye, Lisette. Okay, and now I would like to invite you to watch a video by Chris Rawlings where he lays down the formula for A+ content. So from A to Z.